We all love to watch them on screen, with their colorful personalities that leave us laughing, crying, or inspired. And amidst admiring them and their talents, there's a few times that we forget to separate what's on screen and what's reality. Because let's admit, people, especially very famous ones, aren't always who they seem or act to be. Or at the very least, they're not as perfect as we think them to be. So today, we bring you some of the most well-known celebrities who may have acted awful or disrespectful behind the scenes in the limelight. But before we proceed, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this. Gwyneth Paltrow. Starting off the list strong is Gwyneth. If you don't know why she's on the list by now, then allow us to enlighten you. This once beloved Iron Man heroine has basically thrown away any semblance of a public image by passing herself off as a lifestyle expert, cutting out meat, fish, shellfish, wheat, soy, sugar, corn, and so much more from her diet. At that point, we shudder to think what kinds of food she's eating. And as if that wasn't terrible enough, she actually has her own lifestyle brand called Goop, with every kind of pseudoscience from magical rocks that cleanse your chakra to mystic healing water that removes evil spirits. Oh, and of course, Goop has recently received its own Netflix show, called The Goop Lab with Gwyneth Paltrow. Need we say more? Tommy Lee Jones. Known to most as the man behind Agent K in the Men in Black trilogy, Tommy Lee Jones has won Emmys and Golden Globes, as well as having been nominated for an Oscar multiple times for his performances in Coal Miner's Daughter, JFK, and The Executioner's Song, to name a few. But behind this immeasurable wall of awards and accolades, Tommy has been outed by his cast members for being a really grumpy guy. While that's still mild in comparison to the next entries on the list, he has been known to cut off reporters, as well as getting up to leave in the middle of an interview. Worst was when he actually made an interviewer cry through a combination of his signature grumpiness and cracking walnuts with his bare hands in front of the poor man. Zooey Deschanel. While she looks like a sweet, girl-next-door type of person, which most of her roles portray, like in 500 Seconds of Summer or New Girl, that kind of personality doesn't go past the screen, unfortunately. She's often been called by her co-stars as moody and even downright nasty. She's the poster girl for control freaks since she freaks out when something doesn't go her way, even leaving the set and interrupting filming in her little tantrums. She's not one for camaraderie either, as she's quick to scream and berate her co-stars when they flub their lines, or when they're late for filming. With a personality as difficult as her name is to spell, it's no wonder that she hasn't seen much time in the spotlight as of late. Patrick Dempsey. You may know him for his role as the absolute hunk Dr. Shepard in the hit hospital drama Grey's Anatomy, for which he actually received a Golden Globe for Best Performance by an Actor in a Television Series Drama in 2006. As well as being ranked first on Buddy TV's list of TV's Sexiest Men of 2011. Sadly, it's always the most famous that have the worst personalities on set, since after he got awarded such honors, the set of the hospital drama kind of turned into a drama in and of itself. With Patrick being so rude to the cast and staff, so much that they actually wrote him off the show in its 15th season. He would make an appearance in the 17th season, but he wasn't invited back onto the show after this. Shortly after he was fired, the creator of the show, Shonda Rhimes, made it a personal policy to never allow any people like him on her set. We honestly can't blame her for this one. Ellen DeGeneres. We guess it's no surprise anymore that she's on this list, what with the recent surfacing of testimonies to her awful personality. Such testaments include her mistreating her writing staff for writing unfunny jokes, which is ironic to say the least to hear that come from a self-promoted comedian such as herself. She's very disliked by stars and staff alike, with her trying to get a waitress fired for having a chipped nail, and trying to get a custodian fired for greeting her. What makes that even meaner was the fact that this custodian was autistic. But don't take our word for it. There was a recent thread on Twitter that would donate $2 to the LA Food Bank for every mean Ellen story that they could provide. It raised $600. Mike Myers. Known to most as the ever-lovable Shrek from the Shrek trilogy of movies, Mike Myers is an icon the likes of which can be surpassed by only few. His career from Shrek alone claimed him a spot on Hollywood's Walk of Fame, and even his face on a stamp in the Canadian Post. But he also starred in other classics, like Wayne's World and John and Yoko. But with as funny and charismatic as this man was, he too had a dark side. His co-stars have often quoted him to be emotionally manipulative and controlling, often throwing tantrums when things didn't go his way and playing the victim whenever he knew an argument wasn't in his favor. There was a famous instance of him where he insisted that the directors remake the entire Shrek movie from the start, since he thought that the main character should have a Scottish accent. We don't need to tell you how big of a mess he made after that. Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock is one of the most prolific actresses of our time. With awards so many and prestigious, we'd need a whole other video just to discuss all of them. If you're not sure where you know her from, you've definitely seen some of the movies she starred in for sure, since she's been everywhere. From Netflix's Bird Box to Illumination Entertainment's Minions. She's truly been everywhere. And while that may command as much reverence and respect as the most talented artists, she too wasn't without her issues, as she was known to outright refuse autograph signing and even berating her fans face to face. At one point, she mocked a veteran for his disability, covering her face as though the fan carried some disease. Steven Tyler. Not even musicians are exempt from this list, as we've been able to take a look at how Steven Victor Tallarico, or simply Steven Tyler, actually is offstage. The lead singer of Aerosmith was once almost married to a young woman by the name of Julia Holcomb, which he had started dating at the age of 18. He had already gotten her pregnant by the time he asked her to marry him. But the worst part is that when the girl was trapped in a house fire and hospitalized, Steven made her get an abortion for fears of what the accident did to their unborn child. Needless to say, Julia left him shortly after, and Steven went back to the rock star life with as many women as he could have. Steven Seagal. Where do we even start with Steven? He's already known to be a notoriously difficult person to work with on set, with constant interruptions to filming, being rude to staff, especially his stuntmen, one of which he kicked in the crotch for talking back to him. But it doesn't quite end there. He's reported to be extremely stubborn and standoffish, often easily provoked and resorting to physical violence almost immediately. Probably the worst on his rap sheet is his penchant for sexual harassment, with cases from co-stars and staff alike. He would sometimes hire an executive assistant that he would have massage him and let him touch whenever and wherever he wanted. Ben Stiller. While this list was written with no particular order in mind, we have to agree that Ben Stiller deserves an especially important mention as the last entry. His co-stars all know him to be extremely entitled, immediately berating and belittling his assistants and even the other stars he works with. A famous story of his horrible personality is when he fired an employee on the set of Tropic Thunder because he was convinced there wasn't enough sugar in his coffee. Yikes. That was it. What do you think? Do you agree? Were there some celebs that we left out? Feel free to comment them down below and share your thoughts. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button so you don't miss a single video. See you next time.